Every few years, there's a debate about whether you need a technology background to be an IT leader. And it's resurfaced again here in the AI era. So today, I'm going to cover in just a few minutes the debate, the underlying data, and the skills you really need to excel as an IT leader here in the AI era. Hi, I'm Isaac Sacolick, and welcome to this episode of the Driving Digital Standup. So let's cover the debate. This comes from episode 180 of the Coffee with Digital Trailblazers, where we discuss this exact question. Does IT leadership in the AI era require an IT background anymore? And here are some of the arguments that you probably need more of a business integration and intelligence focus. Deloitte says the era of the operational technologist is over. If you're managing infrastructure and you're a CIO, you need to be moving up stack. Here's from Information Week. The CIO role is less about technology and more about being a business integrator. And that's really important in the AI era. We're bringing data, we're bringing workflow together, we're bringing AI together, we're bringing risk and opportunity with that. We need to be thinking about how we're working with the business around this. And then from IMD, there's quote, the CIO has evolved from specialist to orchestrator, from IT manager to business executive. Now, that's just talking specifically about the IT role. And so, as you're going down into the ranks, the question is, do you need an IT background if you're fulfilling a VP or a director role? And as you go down into the ranks, the answer becomes a lot more important around systems, around data and costs. This quote from BCG: in the AI era, the biggest risk is different technology becomes too easy to create, too fragmented, too governed, too expensive to run. So if you don't understand how the technology works, it's really hard to make good decisions. True fluency lies in understanding how AI systems work. And I can replace AI with digital, with data, with automation. And the question was, is it really something fundamentally different, especially in AI, when we really don't have explainable AI? And MIT is quoting Dr. Mohammed Mosa from Dubai, saying, yes, it is really important to understand how AI works, especially as AI capabilities are changing. And this a quote from CIO.com: in the Gen AI era, a world-class IT will be defined by its ability to manage the massive volumes of complex data. So when we start putting scale in terms of people, data, the hundreds to thousands of agents that companies are putting out, we really need to understand how the technology works. So that's the data. I want to share some insights. The first one comes from me. AI will take over all IT roles in the next 2 years. I never said that. Leaving IT careers with no jobs, I don't believe that at all. Okay, I personally think it is very hard to be an IT leader or a CIO or chief data officer, or even a chief digital officer without understanding how the technology works. 75% agree their operating models and processes must change in the next 12 to 18 months. Really hard to do that without understanding your legacy systems and how they all connect. 82% of organizations are prioritizing human intrinsic traits, and I'll help you unpack what that means. The most important technical skills for IT workers over the next 3 years will be cybersecurity, multi-agent systems, and context engineering. So maybe we need less coders and maybe we need more analysts and those who understand how to connect systems and those working in product manager areas. So we're focused on the right problem sets. And some of the in-demand skills, this is coming from Litcom and security, IAM, and identity management, cloud security, threat detection, and DevOps, cloud architecture, infrastructure as code, data analytics, data engineering, and modeling. We're still not getting away from some of the fundamental skill sets that are required in IT. So does IT leadership in the AI require an IT background anymore? I think the answer is yes, but the debate will continue. So let's talk about some of the skills you need as an IT leader to really succeed in the AI era. So let's try to answer this question. What should mid-career leaders, those of you who are directors and VPs, really do to stay relevant in the AI era? Let me start with some research. This is coming from SHRM, one of the HR premier research areas. Half people are using AI. It's probably a lot higher than that. But what surprised me in this chart is look at who is gaining the most benefit, who's putting the most effort into this. It is the directors, and I'm sure this actually propagates to VPs and above as well. 10 hours per week using AI, 53% of their work using AI assistant, 89% of intermediate plus experience with AI. So, if you are in a director or VP role and you don't feel confident in using AI today, but you're lagging. That's the answer. If your number one skill set you really need to think about cultivating is how to use AI as a partner, not just in doing things that you do today, but excelling at doing things that you have never done before. So that's my first message. In this interesting stat from beautiful.ai, 58% of managers rated AI output at least equal or to an experienced manager. 17% it's equal, 12% it's actually better than human manager outputs. So if all you're doing is people management and you're not getting into what, why, how, for whom, into the actual business value areas of what you're working on, you're also lagging. Okay, just a couple areas to focus on. Now, what does this mean in terms of skill sets? I'm going to share with you both the URLs for the videos and the URL for a follow-up article. I found research on 3 of 5 skill sets. These are leadership ones. First and foremost, being creative and critical and analytical thinking. This is coming from the World Economic Forum. 70% of employers are looking for analytical skills. 66% say creative thinking is on the rise. Why? Because they need people. You need people who are going to challenge AI's outputs. And the only way you can do that is by having real creative thinking and saying, what should I ask? And does this response even make sense? Collaborative leadership. This is coming from Atlassian as in change management. The entire way we are doing Agile today must evolve. I have some writing around this as well. 77% are having more horizontal teams and 73% with blended roles. Change management becoming much more important. Knowledge workers who say change management is optimized for AI, not happening. So collaborative leadership, that means wells away from command and control and even wells away from just self-organizing teams to being able to have leaders who can work across teams and leaders who can drive change management. So those are the leadership skills. When I think of the more technically oriented skills, I start with Adobe. They say data and AI governance. We'll be talking a lot about that over our Coffee with Digital Trailblazers in the next few months. 78% still have data integration challenges. 52% don't have a unified data source. So still a lot of data, AI governance, centralizing data, building that context layer out. And then you'll see a lot from me in 2026 second half, September through December, about AI agent orchestration. This isn't just about agent to agent communications. This is about human augmentation, working with AI side by side and collaboratively. And I left you some links from IBM, Snowflake, Dataiku, and Deloitte, really describing well what agent orchestration is all about. So 5 key skill areas: critical thinking, collaborative leadership, change management, data and AI governance, and AI agent orchestration, I think are really important. Data I share with you today comes from the research slides at my Coffee with Digital Trailblazers. I've been doing this for 4 years with the expert advisory panel that you see here. We meet on LinkedIn Live every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You can find the latest episode by going to starcio.com/coffee. It will redirect to the latest episodes. If you've missed one of our 180 plus episodes, do go to drive.starcio.com/coffee. They're all there, and we're pushing 1 out of every 3 or 4 of them onto Spotify, Apple, and Amazon as a podcast. So plenty of ways to go and watch this. If you want the actual episodes I covered here today, there's 2 URLs here that will redirect you to them: starcio.com/coffee/episode-180, and then the other one, starcio.com/coffee/episode-179. Also, do visit my blog, drive.starcio.com. The URL there is for a recap of the 5 skill sets that I covered here with a lot more information. AI is only as good as your talent. 5 ways to amplify its value. Thank you for joining this week's Driving Digital Stand-Up. I'm Isaac Sacolick.